What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Unfiltered Truth. I'm your host, Phil Robinson. With me, as always, the mighty, the incomparable, the immortal, all of that stuff. Phil Jones. What's up, everybody? Jones, how you doing?
What up? What up? Can't call it. It's Wednesday, hump day. 2 days, 1 day. How the fuck you said Friday? Look at it. I mean, shit. Agency, you want to talk about quarterback? Who you want to talk about? Dave Ziegler. I want to talk about. Y'all want to talk about Oprah's giveaway?
Said all of that. Dave all Ziegler's Bussing with the Boys interview, the latest and greatest with the Las Vegas Raiders. Get into some of my Super Bowl stories. They weren't anything too crazy. I didn't go to any of the parties like that, but I can tell you what happened on Radio Row and covering the game itself. And all
damn
that.
Well, you were like granddad at the damn in Puerto Rico.
I was there on business. They're on business. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
The motherfucker.
And we are back. King Bolo was good. Tony needs that giveaway, that Oprah giveaway. I do too. When I make it big, I promise I'll make sure we do the giveaway, and myself and Jones will be the only contestants. So that What's up, EG?
Oh, here he comes. Here he comes.
All right, from the start, huh? He been waiting for us to come in here and get this cracking. Phil, but enough of the chit chat. Let's give the people what they want, what they came to hear us talk about, and that was the Bussing with the Boys interview that Dave Ziegler had recently had published. Now, it was brought to my attention, and I had to go back and verify it, that this interview was actually shot in January 20th to be exact. And so all of this deliciously rich information that everybody is processing as things that just happened recently, not so much. This is a month old. And like me and Jones have told you guys time and time again, the best news is the stuff you got to sit on, and the stuff you don't get to say anything about until after everything is played out.
That's right, motherfuckers. This shit happened in January. This shit wasn't, oh shit, this happened yesterday or the day before. No, it happened back in January. His ass, they were done with his ass. They knew that motherfucker wasn't a winner.
Knew he was not a winner.
I'm gonna just be clear, blunt. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Y'all know I don't beat around the bush. Get straight to the point. He sat there, was like, "Hey, nah, look at that shit. We done with it." Phil, proceed.
So, as we've given, Jones has given you the unfiltered short version. Allow me to play what he said on the DC decision.
your gut, and you have to be convicted on the decisions that you make, and have a plan and a reason for doing it. And I'm not going to get into all that, but there's a plan and a reason for every decision, and like ultimately you have to feel like you're making the best decision for the Raiders, whether it's in the short term or the long term, and ultimately that's what we did in that situation.
Yeah, ma'am. This
is the best decision for the Raiders, short term and long term. And once again, this is back in January. January 20th. This was before I even went to Arizona to get on Radio Row. All the national guys had been talking about, oh, he's going to have this large, robust market. He's going to get traded. And the reality of the situation is he never wanted to be traded. They set the contract up to cut him so that they didn't have to worry about his no trade clause that he was so adamant of getting. And a lot of people spoke up against us and said, we didn't know what we were talking about, that this was going to be the extension that he deserved. They were going to pay him all this money. And lo and behold, February 14th hit. They didn't even make it to the 15th.
Yeah. I mean, shit, Phil. I mean, you actually going to believe the shit that Derek Carr is giving you? Are you actually going to believe the shit? I mean, we can just drop this shit right here.
I've been on record saying everybody else. Yeah, I'm a Raider, and if by my choice or theirs, I'm not, then I'm not. And I'll play golf and get really good at that.
Well, clearly your ass is not playing golf. You're making all these motherfucking visits and shit. So, again, the words of Derek Carr, I don't believe shit that come out of his mouth. You understand? So when I hear his shit, all I can just think of is spewed bullshit. And I don't care if I'm ruining somebody's motherfucking market. I don't give a fuck. You understand me? I don't give a fuck. Because the day when I heard this motherfucker say this,
I promise you.
The day I heard it, I was like, you guys are fucked. I promise you. Shit. It lives on lies and fallacies, as one person told me. But when I heard this,
I promise you.
Promise bullshit. A failed season. I promise more fumbles. I promise to give you 70 turnovers within shit. Take that back. We had about 80 turnovers within how many seasons? 9. That motherfucker wasn't shit. He may have been a good guy off the field, but on the field, that motherfucker was not shit. And that's the end. Philip?
Anyway, so now that we've had this soliloquy done, we as Raider Rich was kind enough to donate, we'll shout it out. We were going to get to this later, but Taylor was networking for his landing spot. We'll get to this in due time, my man. It certainly appeared to be that way.
I think I can hit directly on that one for you.
Well, by all means.
But you go on. It's all you, brother.
The Taylor Lewan has got an injury history. He's got torn up knees. He's got concussion history, and he's not picking up speed rushers as well as he did when he was a younger. Well, excuse me, before his injuries. And you have Jermaine. He's currently the left tackle. You're not getting
Yeah.
rid of Colt Miller for Taylor Lewan. And if he was to
No.
move over to right tackle, you currently are looking at re-signing Jermaine Illuminor. You've got Thayer Munford, who needs to continue to be developed and get the playing time to be able to become that guy that you need him to be. And the jury's still out on whether or not you're going to re-sign Brandon Parker and actually have that three-way competition at right tackle that you were supposed to have last season. But in all of that, all of those three options that I just listed off at right tackle are still going to cost you less than Taylor Lewan.
Yeah, that's true. And it's really not the concussion, actually, Phil. The concussion was just a one thing. That was a one-time thing with him. It's to get to the point. He's had an ACL tear back in 2020. And you come back to 2022 this past year, he has severe knee sprain. So you're coming and it's on the same knee. When you're going to literally be out for 15 games on the same knee that you had problems with back in 2020. I'm being straightforward. You don't want to take that chance because you don't know if you're going to be promised that you're going to be able to get maybe at least 16 games out of him. If you can't get 16 games out of him at least, or I'll be fair, at least
16
15.
don't even cut it anymore.
Yeah,
that doesn't cut it anymore.
You're better. You're better. Look, at the end of the day, you're better off with Thayer Munford. I think Thayer Munford gets the shot to be able to take the right tackle position this year. Or as you say, you do have that three-way competition between him, Illuminor, and you bringing back Brandon Parker. So those are two scenarios that you can play out. Now, and I think Jermaine Illuminor is cheap. Probably about good $5-6 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't hurt your pocket. Go on and bring them in. Call it a day. I mean, if you look, Matt, I get what you're saying. Looking at Taylor Lewan to bring him in at a swing tackle, but he's like, I don't want to be a swing tackle. I think guys at his age, he's 31. He's my age. He's looking at it like, I think I can still play as a starting tackle.
He's not going anywhere to back up anybody.
Maybe not get big starting money, but I feel like I'm still good enough to be starting somewhere. And you know what? I'm not going to knock him because I respect that. If he feels he can do that, if he's at 100% and he's able to stay that, hey, props to him. But in this situation for the Raiders, you want to look at getting your right tackle situation squared away. The Parker with Mumford, have him do that little battle, or entrust Thayer Mumford to hold that right tackle position.
Or you at least continue to be groomed for it. That's your ultimate plan.
To be honest, Phil, and I'm sorry to cut you off, I think he's ready to get the opportunity this year. I think he's ready for it.
He could be. He certainly could be. If they're battling for it, that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
If you got a three-way battle, that's a great problem to have. And one of the things that I will say about this regime is that they set guys up and they put them on a path, and then guys make guys walk the path. And when they're not walking the path, they're quick to pull the trigger on getting rid of them. And you'll see guys like Leatherwood, you'll see guys like Abrams, you'll see guys like to a more greater extent, the gentleman who was just recently released. all of the if you don't fit the scheme culturally, or if you don't fit the scheme, if you don't fit in culturally, if you don't fit in with what everybody's trying to do, they'll get rid of you. They don't have time. They don't have time to play games. They don't have time to cater to feelings. They don't have time to hold players in higher regards than others, especially if you're not producing. And so with Munford, the thing about what Ziegler and McDaniels look a lot for is for ascending young players and ascending young talents. And for everybody who's trashed this offensive line, remember how inexpensive it is. Your top player is Colton Miller. He's the only one that's getting paid. And if you were to add up the sum of all its parts, Colton Miller is making more than the other 4 starters on the offensive line put together.
Yeah.
And they were 10th. They had the 10th highest pass blocking win rate. They produced the #1 leading rusher in the league. This is a line that's continuing to grow together and flourish. Now you've got 3 definite spots that are locked down right now. You've got your left tackle, you've got your center, and you've got your right guard with Dylan Parham. Now, if you want to add another guard so that you can move bars back to a swing guard and a backup, perfectly good with that. Perfectly okay. If you're going to have that open competition at right tackle between the 3 guys, the one guy that you expected to start, the one guy that you drafted to be the future, and the guy who's currently the guy, perfectly good problem to have. You're in good standards, good straights, and then you can take that $48 million of cap space that you have, potentially draft a rookie, pay your star, Josh Jacobs, and then address the defense. Because the reality of this offense, the reality of this team and where they're at is, are they one player away from being a Super Bowl team? On offense, pretty damn close. On defense, no. So, but the big question that's come out has been, what do we do with the future? Oh, Dave Ziegler said he might not have the quarterback of the future at this particular go round. The reality of the situation is this: you don't know who the quarterback of the future is going to be until they get on the field and start winning.
Yeah. You're not going to know.
You're not going to know until he gets on the field and he's putting up multiple 15-2 seasons, 14-3 seasons, division banner after 5 straight division banners, 3 trips to the Super Bowl in 4 years. That's when you find out that you've got your quarterback of the future. When you make these strides in 3 years and none of your strides are ever going backwards. Now, Matt says the time after the Super Bowl and start of free agent signings are called bullshit season for a reason. I'm sure Ziegler has a plan, and he was likely saying that QB stuff as a ruse. Well, he absolutely has a plan. He's just not going to share it with us, and nor should he. Now, there were some other things, some other little tidbits that I gleaned out of the interview process, especially when he was talking about their scouting. And the level of scouting to which they've been brought over from New England was something completely different than what the Raiders have been used to thus far. And I actually have a clip of that, little clip of that. Hold on, phone's acting up. Of just that right here. So hang on, bear with me for a second.
On the scouting side, I would say from the Patriots, and again, this isn't a knock. Everybody has different ways that they do things. The thing with the Patriots from a scouting is it's super detailed. No stone left unturned, character, background research, understanding the role for the player. Like when I say we're going to bring in Will Compton, it's not just like, okay, we're going to bring in Will Compton to play linebacker. It's like, we're going to bring in Will Compton. He's going to get to the game on 4th down. He's going to be a 3 to 4 phase player in the kicking game. So he's going to be there every week. He's going to be the 5th linebacker. As the 5th linebacker, he's going to be a 1st and 2nd down guy. He's not going to play in sub. Like that kind of communication and that like being that specific and detailed was something new for it'd be new for a lot of places, but it was new for our scouting department. Our talking our language, the like again, the specificity of the role, and then the detail of what we want in terms of background, research, and character. Because for us, like the culture fit, like it's the skill set is this, but how do they fit culturally? What are they going to bring to the room in terms of football intelligence? What are they going to bring to the room in terms of like, again, like the personal and social aspect? How are they going to fit in the room, and how is their room going to react to them? Like those are all conversations we have, and we're going to add just one player. And so I think that was a little bit different from what they've done in the past.
Thoughts on that, Jones?
Hey, I mean, shit. Hey, look, Ziegler and I can't say nothing because that's what I've been looking for. The details.
Now, we'll take a step backwards just a minute. One of the, because what I played this particular piece of the clip and it was trimmed down, obviously. One of the other things that he said about this whole thing was based on his relationship with Taylor Lewan and how Dave Ziegler used to be Taylor Lewan's high school guidance counselor. And a good, healthy part of the first, I'd say, hour and 15 minutes was them going over some background stuff of their background in Arizona at the high school and some of and just the kind of guy that Ziegler is and why he is how he's able to just stay so even keel, so level-headed, so unemotional and focus on the goal at hand and only making the team better. And it really, having listened to him talk about this, and like I said, we're talking about a high school guidance counselor, a man that talks to children and keeps children on the straight and narrow. Yet somehow, individuals who shall remain nameless seem to have problems with being treated the same as others, and resorted to acting like children.
Yeah, if you're looking at that. So, I mean, look, Dave Ziegler, if you look at the background, like you said, background that he had right there, the man knows what he's doing. The man's working with younger guys coming from out of college, rookies that are coming in. I know how to deal with them because some of them are still developing. They're not mature yet. He knows how to speak to them properly. He knows how to look, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be real with you right there. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I think you need that kind of general manager going forward.
Absolutely, you do. It's the only way that you're going to get better. It's something that we've said is that if you're not going to address the issues that you're facing as a team and be real about them, then you're never, ever going to completely solve what you need to solve in order to get better. And for everybody who's been yelling and screaming about fire the coaching and to get rid of the coaching, that he's not one of those people, because he believes in the process that they go through and all that comes into these decisions. And more importantly, he spoke once again about the same thing that we've spoken ad nauseum, which was execution. So this is his thoughts on coaching.
In coaching and personnel and, all those different types of things. I would say one, I have having coached and understanding, even though it was at college and high school, I have a great amount of respect for coaches and what they do and the amount of time, like we talked about, the amount of time that they put in. And so I'm not going to act like the expert either. Do you know what I mean? Because I know how much time that they put in. And I know ultimately what coaches are trying to do is they try to put players in the best situations to have the players be successful. And so I don't act like the expert to answer part of your question because I'm not the expert.
Right.
And so I'll ask maybe the why or the reason. And, I'd say almost 10 out of 10 times, or a lot of the times, like, okay, I get it. You were trying to do X, Y, and Z, and we didn't execute it for whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of those conversations I have a lot of the conversations because I want to learn too of the whys. Why did we do this here? Why did we do that here? But it's not the why of like, why the hell did you do that? It's more like the curiosity. And again, having the dialogue to understand, to make sure like we are doing the right things. And it's to be the same question. Why did you draft this guy here? Or why did you bring this guy on the team? What did you think he could do? Well, I thought he was going to fill this role and be able to help us in this area. That's the why. And so we have a lot of those conversations, but I'm not in there as like, acting like I'm the expert, I guess, at the end of the day.
Right. I guess it's like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Today,
I was thinking
today,
too many people acting like experts and not letting the coach who actually is the expert do what it is that he does. For everybody who's talked about the play calling and how ass it was, nobody seemed to have a problem with the play calling against the Niners when they took it to the number one defense in the league and lit them up. We made it. Now you heard excuses being made. Oh, they were hungover. Listen. They showed up to play a game ill prepared, and the Raiders were ready to take advantage of it. So whether they showed up ready to play or not doesn't mean that the Raiders didn't execute and do what they were supposed to do all the way up until the time where, those couple freak plays happened to Jared Stidham, and they ended up not pulling out the W. But we're going to take this time real quick to plug the homeboy Raider Rich and the After Dark show. You've got to catch my man Rich as he breaks down the hottest issues facing Raider Nation. It'll break down everything that you need to know, keep you informed, and do it with a smile and a little bit of swag. So once again, the Raider Rich show on the Raider Rich channel on YouTube, Saturdays at 8, because old man Rich has got to go to bed. Who will be the next D-line coach? Hopefully somebody better than the one that they had, because unfortunately, Frank Oakland did not get it done.
Ooh.
B-Day shot Saturday night for Truly Tony on the After Dark show with Rich. If Ziegler wants to upgrade the QB position, he needs to try and get Rodgers and draft a QB in the later rounds. If Stidham is not the future answer, Jimmy G and Mac Jones are lateral moves at best. Mac Jones is not a lateral move. Mac Jones was actually better than Derek Carr was last year, and he regressed because he had Matt Patricia, who did a horrible job with Detroit and did a horrible job with Detroit's offense, come over to the Patriots and continue his horrible coaching ways and destroy the Patriot offense and all of the progress Mac Jones had made. Jimmy G is going to give you 8 to 10 games per year. A quarterback that's not going to be able to finish the season is hardly a lateral move. As for Rodgers, if Rodgers is 1 to 2 years, if you're going to bring him in and then draft a quarterback late in the later rounds of the draft, you're not preparing yourself for the future. Now, as for Stidham, I've said it all off season. He should be re-signed, and he should have an opportunity to compete for the starting job as well.
Ugh, don't ever say that name, Matt Patricia, again.
Hey, Ray,
damn, that man was on some shit.
Ray, it's all good, brother. You know, it's all good. Just trying to be real with Raider Nation because you deserve better. Trey, we need to get a QB in this. That's very likely going to be your first round draft pick. That it's incredibly likely because it it's the most important position on the team, and for all the effort that all the guys that you want to get for defense. If you don't, we've seen that if you don't have a quarterback, or if your quarterback is playing at a backup level, and you're only going to win a handful of games.
Yeah.
If you draft your quarterback now, you get him on the rookie deal, and he ends up being the guy, you got 5 cheap years of high quality QB service, and you can use the money that you save on that to pay your Josh Jacobs to be a hero, and to get all of the defensive starters that you need to bring in to pair up with the rookies that you draft. We have 11 draft picks this season. So if you spend one on a quarterback and then you draft, I think what we had fourth round picks, or was that fifths that we had all of those? But in any case, towards the later end of the draft, we got a lot of picks. You got one in the first, one in the second, one in the third, and then I think then you got the 4 in the fourth.
We got 4. You got 2. I think you got what, 2 of those. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got a lot of draft capital in the middle, and if they're doing their due diligence, everybody's
round. You still got draft capital there.
Yeah,
there's still hot picks.
Yeah, and you even have enough. Everybody's talking about move down. You got enough to move up. Now, does it necessarily the first round? May not be the first round, but moving up in the second and the third, oh, that's for sure. That is for sure. That's a nice little honey hole for them to come in and do what they need to do. Oh, we got them flowing now. All right, facts. Whatever we do, quarterback. Bro, go do a fucking swan dive down your toilet bowl, dude. Get out of here. Nobody wants fucking Jimmy G, bro.
Ugh. Yeah.
Salute. Hey, you said at best. I don't even think he's that, be honest with you, but that's just me. What's an undercover free agent that will have an impact for us? It appears that Dalvin Tomlinson is no longer going to be available. The Vikings are making moves to re-sign him, so I would still say Leonard Williams.
Like I said, Leonard Williams is one guy that can kick out to the outside and then also play within the inside at best. I mean, that's the spot that he is good at, playing inside.
Absolutely.
So the Raiders being able to have him, you still have what's his face? Came from the Bears.
Bilal Nichols.
Yeah, Bilal Nichols, and then Crosby. And I still have Andrew Billings right there. Overall, right there, that's a big help.
We got to get you. We got to get some pass rushing DTs. I get it. And Billings had a great season in terms of being a run defender. I gotta get, and this is just me speaking personally for myself. I gotta get somebody who can generate interior pass rush.
I mean, I got a list, but I ain't gonna say it out loud.
Well, we'll get there.
And I got the list. I mean, we'll talk later. But
yeah, we'll get there somewhere down the road. We got a long way ahead of us before we get to the draft. A
long way ahead of us, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we're not that far from March.
We may not be.
Young man, we are not that far from March.
That's fine. It's
March
not
is basically next week.
It's not tomorrow.
Next week.
So let me ask you a question.
Young
how
man,
much-
I just gotta say this.
How much of this can be made official before March 15th?
I said 89%.
Can be made official before March 15th.
89%.
I would love to hear how you figure that. Since nothing can be, is so far the only thing that could be official before March 15th would be a Derek Carr signing.
Sir.
On to 52 Pearman. I've never heard of 52 Pearman, but if you're looking for Denzel Perryman, they're exploring his price to bring him back. I believe from the last I heard he wanted to remain here. It's going to come down to how much do they pay him to stay. I believe we have to take a QB somewhere between round 1 and 3. Otherwise, we go heavy D, suck another year in draft, and QB in 2024. Well, the problem behind that is you'd be looking for a new coach as well.
Ooh.
KB.
He's right.
Hell of a betting man. Great pay break. No, he doesn't. His poker face is terrible.
You ain't shit.
For everybody who said, who do you not want to draft in this draft at the 7th pick in the draft? For that, I turn to KB.
With a W. Starts with a W. And the motherfucker puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
That's just so nasty. Every time you say that
already.
Every time you say that, I want to correct you, and I'm like, but no, that's what he does. That's what he does.
That's a red flag already.
Hey, as long as they subscribe and give me a thumbs up, by the time they get out of here, we're doing all right. We need some likes, we need some subscriptions and charitable donations to the Unfiltered Truth on Venmo and PayPal.
I just fucking mayonnaise in your coffee. Nah, that somebody need to perform an exorcism on that motherfucker. God. He said, "Bring back Russell and Ned."
We're not naming names right now, KB. You never know who's watching, and trust me and believe me when I tell you, everybody's watching the Unfiltered Truth. We found out the hard way. Trust me.
This shit got that.
Oh, that's leave like Raider Nation if they draft. I wish I had read the end of this. I really did. Oh man.
God,
you know what? I ban people for less than that. Is there any shutdown corners in this draft? Unfortunately, the ones that I do believe, there may be a couple that escaped the first round, but due to the need at QB, you are not going to see them. Those boys should be going early between you.
Maybe early second round, but you gotta, if you know that he's there, you're gonna have to trade up.
Or
there's probably two. there's two at least in that second round where either they're still there when you're getting ready, or you might need to trade up one or two spots.
Yeah. And I think to KB's point, he said Thule, and I think that if Thule sneaks down there to the second, you might have that's another one that you might have to pull a trigger on and pick up at that time because he won't be there in the third.
Yeah.
No.
Hold on, what was that now? Hold on, say what?
Can we know one or two of the names that is on the list? No. Maybe later. Oh, there you. He won't be there. He won't be there in the second round. He should be gone in the first. Devin Witherspoon.
He might.
Devin Witherspoon. Shut up!
He might actually.
Shut up!
But he might. I thought you were gonna stop, brother.
No, you really can't, especially when you start going through the visit list and all the other stuff that you looked at that goes into that. I don't think we should get. Well, I only think we should give up picks if we're using them to move up. To me, for everybody to say, "Oh, move down," I'm like, no. You have the 7th pick in the draft, 7th overall. If you don't have a list of the top 10 guys to draft, then what the fuck are you doing? Why would you need to move back out of 7th to not be able to pick up an impact player at a position of need? If that's the case, then your scouting department is terrible. We just listened to a clip of the details that they are now going into for the scouting department. Not only are you just bringing a guy to bring in a position, you're bringing in a guy for a situation. You're bringing in a guy to do specific jobs. You're bringing in a guy that only has to be one thing, and then when you need something else done, you bring him off the field and put in the other guy who does that one thing. But most talented QB in the draft. What QB fits Josh McDaniels' system perfect? QB sleeper in draft. Most talented QB in the draft is going to be probably Anthony Richardson. Most physically talented QB in the draft. What QB fits Josh McDaniels' system perfectly? That's a two-way tie with 1A going to the gentleman from the Ohio State. Perfect QB sleeper in the draft. That would be QB 1B, who would be, well, Vegas loves hookers.
Technically, it's 3. It's 3. There are 3 guys that fit his system. The one area, yeah. Young, Stroud, and D Hooker.
I could live with that.
Those are
I just
the reason.
No, you're right. Because I was going back and looking at the way that it's set up for everybody. Everybody believes and wants to just keep saying that the Bears and Houston are drafting quarterbacks when everything that they've said up to this point has been contrary to that. Looking at their rosters, that the quarterback is not the position that they need. If they were to pass on those quarterbacks, you're now talking about getting down to Indianapolis with its choice of the top 3 quarterbacks at 4. Seattle's not drafting.
Let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. That being said, with Chicago and their needs, because it's really O-line they need. They need a better receiver. They're gonna need a whole bunch of. But yeah, coming down to us, we're looking at possibility of having an option of maybe moving up and just say maybe a couple of spots to get Bryce Young, or you got a trial sitting there. But then again, folks need to remember, if the timeline going correctly for Hendon Hooker to be ready to go, he's right back in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people fail to realize that. And everybody wants to jump up on age. We need to stop using that narrative of age. If the motherfucker can play, the motherfucker can play. That's as simple as that. Stop bitching and crying because the man about 25 years old. But if the motherfucker comes in on his rookie year, putting up about 3,500 yards, probably about 20 plus touchdowns and shit, and a low interception ratio, would you really give a fuck? No, you wouldn't give a fuck. That way, are you smoking that meth? Because he is. He definitely is.
3,135 yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, number 1 ranked team in the nation, took it off of Georgia prior to the game that they played in. And if he had gotten anything, and I do mean anything, out of his running back when they played Georgia, they might have been able to win that football game. And
and the offensive protection did fall apart.
Yeah.
So
now,
there's that.
Yeah, that was a lot of scheme that Georgia threw at with bringing guys from different angles and all over the place, and their pass pro just failed him miserably. That and Justin Hyatt couldn't get off a press to save his life, but that's neither here nor there.
Look, like I said, and from the folks I've chatted with, I got sick. Well, I wasn't able to attend the Senior Bowl this year, but my normal contacts I know of that are down in Mobile, when they talk to Hendon Hooker, they said the kid is smart. The kid can comprehend an NFL playbook. That's all I need to hear right there. You able to comprehend a playbook right off the get-go. I don't care if you think it could be easy or not, because they're looking at something basic. It's still in the realms of possibly being complex. Hey, man, send this motherfucker back to the kitchen for me. I ain't got time to argue with stupidity right now.
What is he elite at? Well, I'll tell you, he led the league and he led the nation in average depth of throwing. His deep ball was incredible. I'll start with that. How they executed the offense. What is he elite at? What is he not elite at? Anywho,
didn't this guy? If I recall, Hendon Hooker beat Alabama.
Yep.
Did he not beat Alabama? And then didn't he try to bring Georgia back within a reasonable score?
Yeah, against Georgia.
Yeah. Excuse me, against Georgia. But again,
there are times. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and prop this man up and say that he is.
I have this whole report right here, and I say this: like you getting ready to say, there are things that Hooker will miss, but then again, I also do look at what they were running at Tennessee. There were a lot of option routes that he had with that playbook. So usually with that, your release is not going to be exactly what you want. But then there's also things where like, you could have went that way instead of looking that way within that option route. But again, he still had a complex offense to run, and I in my opinion, I think you can work with that guy right there.
Absolutely, you can. Not only that,
but opportunity, yes.
So as this gentleman was saying, and I'll jump in and make this quick. Josh Heupel, or however you pronounce his name, it's weird. Runs a system very closely matching what Josh McDaniels does with the Raiders. So you're not talking about a guy whose learning curve is going to be huge because he's running a similar version of offense, and he ran it well. Talking about 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That guy, he did wonderful. Did he miss a couple short intermediate targets? Yeah, he did. But he only threw 2 interceptions all season long. And he played everybody in the SEC. He played arguably probably one of the hardest schedules in the country. Is there a reality where the Raiders draft 2 QBs? Only if they get a guy, only if one of their guys drops late. Let's say your boy from UCLA, if he's somewhere 4th, 5th, or 6th, and they keep them 800 draft picks they got, then maybe. And then it would also come down to what they do with Stidham, because they still have Chase Garbers on the roster. So if you draft 2 and you sign Stidham, there's your 4?
Yeah. That'll be your 4, yeah.
Yeah. So what? One of those guys is going to be a camp body.
You better make me end this damn show right now.
I don't need to see your input either. You can go sit down for 5 minutes and come back with a better effort than that, KB. God damn it. This shit is ridiculous. Hooker's numbers are the same as Stroud with less games and a higher QBR. Yeah, his QBR was 175.5, but he's not elite. Not elite. Can't do it. I listen. I put his ass on timeout.
Shipped his ass to timeout. Got it.
Need to come out here and give me a better effort than that shit. Talking about Jake Hayner.
That's
yeah. Anyway. Man, so we've gone 50-something minutes. I hadn't even broken out any of the Super Bowl stories. All my tamed out said Super Bowl stories. Let me tell you about some. And I don't know if I've said this on this particular show before. Me and Cade, but literally bumped into DeMar Hamlin. We went in. We just left Radio Row to go snag a bite. Walked up the street to Taco Bell of all places, to the absolute worst Taco Bell I've ever been to in my life. Downtown Arizona, right off of Jefferson and 2nd Street. Don't ever go there. But we leave, we walk out. When we hit the corner, look to the right. Hey, Kay's like, bro, that's DeMar Hamlin. Like, what? And sure enough, he's there with his publicist, a couple other people, a bluish black BMW on the corner parked, ready to go. And he's signing autographs, taking pictures. And we had to go hit him up. And it was just like, bro, like, yo, that's DeMar Hamlin. And I've been doing this a while now. I don't really get starstruck by guys too many times anymore. I think it happened with Papa for a minute. But it was like, yo, that's DeMar Hamlin. Like, I want to go and talk to this dude, but above all else, I want to be like, man, I'm just glad you're still alive. Like, I watched you die on TV, bro. and get caught. And seriously, I was like, there's no way this dude is gonna make it. I just the way he went down. This looked like Hank Gathers at the free throw, man. It's all bad. And then to just come out and completely random and just be like, yo, we took pictures. We talked to him for about a minute or two before it. Not even Marcus, Tony, because I'd seen Marcus before, but Marcus didn't almost die, bro. Like we watched this shit. They canceled a football game because of this, and it was crazy. It's a great dude, humble. You know what I'm saying? It was just like I said, it was just crazy because it was like, yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever had that experience where you literally you bumped into somebody that you watched die and come back. You know what I'm saying? He had the glow, all of it. It was crazy. But we bumped into all kinds of people out there. Saw Joe Montana, sat down, talked to Brian Baldinger, who's a lot. I keep forgetting that he used to play, because when I walked up to, I was like, yo, this dude is really tall. And even then, he's still 6'4", 6'5", so he wasn't even that tall, all things considered. We also the Josh Jacobs thing. Now that was another funny one. Quick story, like I said, nothing too crazy, because I figured when I was out there that trying to stop guys and have long, deep spiritual conversations at Radio Row probably wasn't going to was the way to go, because they were getting pulled off in millions of directions. People were coming in from all over the place to get a few words, make them say something. I can't tell you how many people came out of absolute, just materialized next to me when I was taking a breath to ask somebody a question. I actually didn't get a chance to really holler at Pat McAfee when I had him down at the escalator, because this woman came out of absolutely nowhere with a television camera from Las Vegas media or something, and asked him some questions before he had to jam out. But so I was standing next to one of these gates, because they got the whole little convention.
Stiff on the motherfucker next time.
Right. Well, I mean, literally, she was not there, Phil. And then as soon as I took a deep breath, because I'm staring this man in the mouth, waiting for him to take a breath so that I know he's done talking to somebody else, because I'm not a rude dude that likes to interrupt people when they're talking. And Pat, you just see
hey, look at me, stiff arm.
Man, I'm telling you, got to be more aware. Head on a swivel. Jesus, it was just like, where the woman come from? It was crazy. But back to the Josh story. So I'm over here standing next to a gate. I'm on my phone. I'm fucking off. I'm not even gonna lie. I was doing something on Twitter or something. Happened to look up, and while I make no ill thoughts, but said he was not coming up to see me, but I look up and Josh Jacobs is walking straight to me. Like maybe 10 feet away. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me, dead eye contact. Walk up, introduce myself, hand him my business card, holler at him, talk a little bit, keep what was said between us. And hopefully, if all goes right, we should be able to land him on the show sometime during the off season. Met Tim Brown's people. Hopefully, I spoke with his publicist, so we're hoping that she'll get back to us so we can actually get touchdown Timmy Brown on as well, and a host of other people. So far, what we have coming up in mid-March, I believe the 13th, somewhere around there, we should be looking at Alec Ingold, former fullback for the Raiders. And I believe next week I will have Charlie Young, the 1973 Offensive Rookie of the Year runner-up for the Philadelphia Eagles, the player who was actually traded for Ron Jaworski.
All right. Should be good. Should be interesting.
I believe so.
You
But yeah,
believe so. You know
for
so.
sure. Oh, I know it will. But yes, it's pay JJ28 around here all day, every day. Pay that man his money. And he said the truest shit I've heard yet come out of athlete's mouth. Like, listen, I'll take the tag if it means that we'll pay some guys around me to help make the team better. But if you expect me to come and be a hero, then you need to pay me like I'm the hero. And I said, you know what? This man speaks true. He led the league in rushing. He led the league in yards from scrimmage. If you want him to go out there and do it again, you're going to have to pay this man. It's okay. You pay for what you get. And what he's giving you is top tier production. 40 touchdowns, 4,700 yards in 4 years. And when he starts the 2023 season, he'll be 25. He'll still have 3 to 5 premium years left in the tank.
Yeah. Gotta.
I just wanted to. I was looking at this one thing, but this offense is all set and ready to do big things. They're gonna get this defense right. They're going to address it like we've said before, and sometimes it sounds like repeating it because honestly, there's really not a whole lot of news going on right now except for hypotheticals and house cleaning. But they're going to work the draft. They're going to get as many young players that they can get because they're on cheaper, more team friendly deals with longer periods of control. They're going to look for guys that fit not only the scheme, but the culture, who can take constructive criticism without breaking down, who've dealt with adversity in their lives and had to overcome it, not necessarily the silver spooners, and guys whose situational awareness and football IQs are high. And really, that's for the most part, that's exactly what has plagued the Raiders: the situational awareness and football IQ, making dumb, bonehead decisions in critical moments.
Yeah. I mean, that's been the one thing that's hurt them for how many years? How many years? I mean, can we just name it all?
Every single one of them except for 16 and 16, yeah. Dating all the way back to at least 02. No. Bradbury's still gonna cost you at least 15 to 20.
Don't look for the name.
Nope.
Look for the player that has been able to give good production. I was thinking about this.
I don't know if so that's a good so what would you have, because he's currently playing center, and he's been playing it well, so would you move that? Mean, do you slide James back out? Do you try to slide Feliciano back out? And the next question would be, does he even want to come back? Because I believe when he left there were some hard feelings.
Yeah, that too. I mean, you got to take a flyer.
Yeah, no doubt.
It won't hurt.
Definitely do.
It's either yes or no. Done. On to the next.
True that.
Ain't the fucking end of the world.
True that. You got anything else for the folks today?
What else? 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 No, because it's too much stuff that's getting ready to come out, and I don't want to just drop it all on one day, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" I'm not gonna do that.
There you have it. So you'll have to stay tuned all throughout the week. We're gonna start turning up the show count. We might do a little shorter shows. I know we went for an hour, looking to do maybe a half hour, but we'll be trying to bring you more shows, get you some more consistent content through the week, so that we can help drive these memberships, the subscriptions, try to get this thing going, set up our donation page so that we can help grow this unfiltered truth to be everywhere that you need us to be.